Welcome to Kickass Buddy Connection, the podcast that reminds you success doesn't have to come at the cost of burnout. I am your host, Prita Bolaki, and together we are rewriting what it means to lead with confidence, clarity, and support. In this space, we crush limiting beliefs, rise above perfectionism, and build a life where you're back, not broken. Each episode is your permission slip to stop doing it all alone, because your potential deserves more than just survival mode. It deserves power, it deserves purpose, and it deserves a kick-ass buddy in your corner. If that speaks to your soul, stick around. Subscribe now, and let's get you back, not burnout. Let's kick burnout to the side and ignite the unstoppable force within you. Disclaimer. The primary purpose of this podcast is to provide education. Information provided in this podcast is not intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any disease. Information given in this podcast must not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to as a basic for expert witness testimony or establishing standard of care in a legal sense. Trigger warning. Some experiences shared in the podcast may be triggering to some audience members. User discretion is advised. Welcome to Kickass Buddy Connection, the podcast that reminds you success doesn't come at a cost of burnout. I'm your host, Prita Bolaki, and today's episode is something special. We are sitting down with a powerhouse guest who has not only walked through the fire, but rose, led, and inspired with purpose. We're diving into her journey, the highs, the lows, and most importantly, the kick-ass buddy that helped her rise above. Behind every unstoppable force is a story of support, courage, and transformation. So grab your tea or your coffee and get ready, because this episode is your reminder that you are never meant to do it alone. Today's guest is the definition of hard-led leadership and unwavering services. Sylvia Coombe is a powerhouse advocate, connector, and change maker in Victoria's multicultural and community landscape. She currently serves as the Regional Advisory Committee Chair of the Higher Region and is a Commissioner for the Victorian Multicultural Commission. Her leadership spans across regions as she deeply involved in shaping inclusive, community-driven policies. Sylvia also holds roles as Vice President of the United Pacifica Council of Victoria and President of the Fijian Community Association of Victoria. Beyond the boardroom, she is a non-operational firefighter with the Country Fire Authority and an advisory member on the Multicultural Women's Reference Group for the Department of Home Affairs. Today we dive into what fuels her purpose, how she protects her peace, and who's been her kick-ass buddy along the way. Our topic today is From Pleasing to Power, on saying no without guilt, a conversation about breaking free from people-pleasing and reclaiming your time, your energy, and your voice. Sylvia Coombe, welcome to Kickass Buddy Connection. How are you?
I am good, and thank you, Peter, for a fantastic introduction. I'm very happy to be here to be able to share some of my experiences with those who are listening to this podcast.
So Sylvia, tell me, what's one pivotal moment that shaped your leadership or your mindset journey?
So I'll talk about my professional career. And professionally speaking, I'm an auditor. So not financial auditing, I'm a systems auditor. And I've been doing that for a very long time. And because of that, I've worked in multiple industries, from automotive to transport to rail and now I'm in construction. But one pivotal moment that shaped my self-leadership was before I went into construction, I was in transport, public transportation, and I was with metro trains, where I was in a secondment role as a general manager with about five or six, I think maybe five direct reports, but they had multiple teams, large teams under them. And when it was time for performance review, I received actually, because performance reviews 360-degree feedback is not only essential for self-development, but it's something that's taken into account during your performance review. I received actually poor performance review from my direct manager, and that his manager actually delivered that review to me. And this was 5 years ago, and it actually affected me mentally,
Yeah.
and also made me reassess how I perceive myself, but not only that, but compared to how others perceive me. So I thought to myself, what can I do to improve myself? So I went and on the side, I did a self-paid leadership course. I believe it was called Lead Like You. And this self-leadership course was every month. I had a meeting with my leadership facilitator, and this person helped me work out how I could improve myself, not only as a leader, but also as a manager.
Yes.
But with the skills I got from that, these skills I learned to also flow that into my community role leadership. Because I think sometimes when you are in the corporate industry, as a community leader, sometimes there's a bit of a sync between the two.
Yeah.
And I have my corporate hat on when I'm talking to my community board members
Yes.
who some of them don't come from a corporate background. And it was quite humbling process, very humbling process, but I think it was needed at that time to like a reality check
Yeah.
of how you think you are compared to how others think about how you perform as a leader, and probably are too scared or probably out of respect don't give you that feedback. And I think the 360-degree feedback is actually a very good process of doing that.
How did you feel after doing that course? What have changed in your corporate journey?
That course that I did, it helped me identify my wow factors, they call it, she called it. And my wow factor for me is I'm very good at connecting people. And I think it's because it was not something, I don't think it was something I got when I was growing up, but I just found naturally connecting people to other people, that came very natural to me. I give you an example. Now, as a community leader in the Pacifica community, Pacifica meaning people from the Pacific Islands like Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, etc. If anyone wants to know anything, phone number, email address of anything to do with Pacifica, they will actually contact me rather than finding it out themselves, which sometimes is it's okay to do every now and then, but then it becomes a habit. It becomes a habit for them to do that. So I'm very good at connecting people. And that, if you flow that onto professional careers, if you're very good at connecting people to each other, that means you're very good at relationships
Yeah.
with not only your team members but with other department team members.
What have changed at work after doing that self-leadership course?
I tell you, even though I learned, yeah, I think it was a 10-week course, even though I learned that those skills, it was I found it quite hard at first to break out of my certain patterns
Yeah.
that I had. And so I had to make a subconscious effort to always remember the things, the things that I've learned that, for example, if you're giving someone feedback, constructive feedback, first of all, the feedback has to be constructive
Yeah.
and not just like negative. Um, Constructive feedback, that there is a time and a place to do all those things, about how you respect, if you respect others and others' time, and not only respect, but appreciate. So many people, I believe in workforces that are unappreciated. And sometimes I think employers think that financial bonuses or gains would make people happy, but I think it 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 is speaks beyond volume when your boss or your manager actually tells you that you're doing a great job and means it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that so honestly, because it does take real courage to take tough feedback and then turn it into fuel for growth. So the fact that you use the lesson beyond the corporate space into your community work, that's the mark of a true leader.
Yeah.
Let's talk about support. When did you realize that doing it alone was not sustainable, and what shifted after you found that support?
Other thing about our Pacifica culture is we find it very hard to say no out of respect. Now, if you transfer that to a workplace,
Yeah,
I actually found it very hard to say no to other people asking me to assist them with work, and eventually their work became my work because comments like, "Oh, you do it quicker," or "Oh, you have a great attention to detail, so you might as well do it," and not realizing that not only was my work suffering, but I was actually getting their job done for them. I was Because of things like that, I was doing a lot of late hours,
yeah,
even going into weekends. And over time, over those years, so we're talking 5 years ago, my blood pressure was continually increasing. But I did do annual health checks, and every time the doctor would say, "Oh, your blood pressure is a bit high," I never took much notice of it until 3 years ago, coming into the construction industry, when as part of the pre-employment check, they did my blood pressure, and the lady
yeah,
said, "Oh my God, your pressure is very, very high. You need to go and see your doctor." So I'm now on blood pressure medicine, even though I should be cutting down on my salt intake, etc. I'm now on, and it's now stable. But one thing I also did was, I've started working my hours, like no more extending into the weekend. And I've also changed my job. And that was a very big shift for me. Once I changed my job and went into the construction industry, into corporate construction, um, it was just do my hours and any reasonable extra hours that I have to do. But not only that, it was I didn't get all those extra duties that I used to get from my previous job, and I believe that gave me a great sense of appreciation of going to work, and not only that, but having an employer that understands me and understands my workload and commitment.
yeah. Wow. That's such a powerful reminder that sometimes the body speaks, often speaks when we don't slow down to listen.
Yes.
I love how you made that shift, not just in your role, but in how you honor your time and health now. Speaking of support, so who has been your kick-ass buddy, someone who had your back when it mattered the most?
I So my mom she's 74. She lives with me for the last maybe I think 10 years she's been living with me, or more than 10 years, 15 years. And mom has always told me to slow down, or you always, stop doing your work, because she has seen this in my father. She
Yeah.
has seen this in my father doing that. And I never, although she was giving the advice, I never took heed. And isn't it funny when people that are close to us give us the same advice, but we go and pay a
Someone
psychologist
else.
or somebody else, and they say the same advice, and you pay them,
Yeah.
and then you come back and tell your family member, oh, my so and so said I have to do this, I have to, cut down on my hours, and they're going, why did you pay money? I've been telling you that for years. Yes, mom has always supported me, regardless of where I was at what point in my life. And she's always prayed for me, because we're quite religious. She's more spiritual than me, but she's always prayed for me, and she's always been like a minder for me, to make sure that I'm not taking on too much. And that not only includes my professional career, but also my community work, because my community work is very consuming, takes up a lot of my time. Not only am I president of my Fijian association, I'm also vice president of the United Pacifica, and then my commissioner work as a commissioner,
Yes.
plus all the other advisory roles that I have during the week or month. So she always says to me, Sylvia, you have to step down from one of them, like slowly, like this is your last year, this is your last year. But she's with me no matter what. Yeah.
True. There's nothing like a mother steady present, right? To remind us of our strength. It's beautiful how you carry grounding force with you through every chapter of your life. Let's talk about growth. What's one belief that you had to unlearn to step into the version of you that we see today?
I'll give you a little bit of a background. Growing up in Fiji, I had a very dominant father,
Yeah.
was very strict, and he was the parent that all the kids, there's five of us, were had to be scared of. He dictated what courses I took in high school, and so I had to do science because my elder brother did science. I couldn't pick arts or any of the other subjects, and I had to. Everything I did was to please him, make him happy, and not only that, I think mom was there in the background, but I think my dad was so central to me and my mindset, that even when I came to Australia in 89, I believe I've always had that thing that if there was a group of people and every single person asked me to do something for them, a different thing, I would try and do everything for everyone, try and give them what they all needed, because I had that mindset that I couldn't let anyone down.
Yeah.
And that carried on not only through my personal relationships with my partners, with my friends, and some of them were toxic, and some were good supporters of mine. It just carried me all into even my previous roles in employment, that I always thought that I have to, of course you have to listen to your manager, uh, and work together as a team. But sometimes when people in the team are toxic or taking advantage, or backstabbing, etc., you're trying to be everyone's friend, but at the end of the day, you're the one suffering. And
True.
that professionally even flows on to my community work. Like, I have members, my Fijian members are scattered across Victoria, and I've got to always in the back of my mind, I'm constantly worrying, like, what's this person gonna say if I don't deliver, if I don't get them this, and if I don't do this for them. It's like a constant battle. But I'm glad when I speak to my little circle of community leaders, everyone's going through the same thing. And I think some of them who are more mature in knowing how to balance it, actually say you're not there to please everyone, but what you can do is for the ones that you can't help, just direct them. At the end of the day, you can just direct them to where they can get help, but you're not personally responsible for their happiness, and that's the problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so difficult to say no. How this have changed you now? Whenever you need to say no, obviously you're not gonna say no for everything, but like when you can see that, okay, I can't do much more than that. So how do you handle that?
One of the things is to say no is actually to try and understand. Like I actually ask questions. Like if someone gives me a basic request, I ask more questions to work out the background of why they're asking it. And sometimes it doesn't even match what they're
Yeah,
asking for in the first place. Sometimes they just want validation of whatever they're going to do is going to be the right thing.
yeah,
I'll give you an example. Someone could say, "Could I please have free tickets to the rugby match next week?" And I'll say, "Unfortunately, they're not offering free tickets to the rugby match." Then they'll keep asking, "Oh, please, can you do something about it?" Now, previously, I would bend over backwards, go
yeah,
get them. Now, I actually ask them, why can't you afford the tickets? The tickets are like only, $30 or $40 or concession, etc. Or if you're a senior, much less. They'll say something like as simple as, "Oh, it's because I can't get transport to get to the thing, to the venue. That it might be in the city. I don't have money in my Mikey card." And so I would, delve more. If you had money in your Mikey card, would you be able to go buy your own ticket? And then they would go, "Oh, I suppose." So I would say, well, if you like, for example, there might be some organizations offering to give money towards their transport, and that alleviates the cost of paying for things. um I'm just wary now, as I've gotten older over the years, and as I think some a bit wiser. Like, I don't jump and overreact to requests. I pause on it a bit, and sometimes I even wait for the next day, because guess what? If I wait too long, they forget.
yeah,
They've asked, which meant it wasn't that important. Because if it was
yeah.
urgent, they'd keep asking that the next day or the day after.
Yeah, that's so true. I love how you talk about being a people pleaser because that's a huge one, especially women in leadership. And
Yeah,
I think letting go of that belief can be such a game changer, not just professionally, but also emotionally. You feel good, like you said, you have to rush and get it, but now with experience, you handle it different and it opens the door to so much more peace and power as well. So speaking
exactly.
of wisdom, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I, I wish, as I've gotten older, and I've found that over the years, as you get older, you try to connect back to your cultural heritage. I wish I had paid more attention to the people in my life when I was much younger. As a migrant professional woman, when I've come across to Australia, I didn't get into community work until maybe 10 years ago. So before that, I would just say, "Oh yeah, I'm Fijian. I'm from Fiji. I'm living in Australia." But now I'm finding it quite difficult to delve back into my paternal heritage, my maternal heritage, because all these things added to all the circumstances, the environment that was around me, made me who I am.
True.
Now, I remember all the things, the circumstances, all that, but the thing about cultural heritage, it adds an added dimension to the way you behave. For example, not having the ability to say no to the things that don't matter,
Yes.
because a lot of times the things they think people think are needs are actually wants. They're not actually what they need. It's actually something nice to have.
Yes.
I wish I had paid more attention to my father's mother, my mother's mother, and these women were Itoke or indigenous Fijians, the indigenous Fijian side of me, or even my my mother's father, who was Chinese, who had migrated from fled from China. And I wish I had just spent more time and learned a bit more and actually like had conversations with my parents, because I see now the young generation now, they're having those conversations with their parents,
Yeah.
but not us. Like I'm technically a Gen X, someone who's born in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Early 70s, late 60s to early 70s. We never had that opportunity to, I mean, for those who did have, they were blessed. The rest of us, it was a lot of corporal punishment, a lot of get out of the house, don't come in until it's time for dinner, those kind of things. That
Yeah.
was like what it was like growing up in the islands.
So beautiful that you share that, because it's such a gentle reminder of for all of us to honor where we come from,
Yeah.
and our roots hold so much wisdom, right? So I love how you say that. I also wish I had more conversation with my grandparents now when I'm working and having my own business. And I'm like, I wish I could have talked to my grandpa, for example. He was a successful entrepreneur. I mean, people listening to it, if they have chances, they should pay more attention to where they come from. Let's talk about the habits that keep you anchored today. What's the one mindset habit or daily practice that keep you grounded and in your power?
One habit that I've been practicing, I think over the last couple of years is prayer. So I'm a Christian,
Yes.
and I make it a goal to pray every morning and every night before I sleep, and and including daily conversations um with God that I have, like He's in the car with me when I'm driving to work. Like, God, why is there a pothole? Like He would know. I don't know. But I think it's just having those daily conversations with Him makes, for me, it makes Him more relatable and more. It's almost like keeps me, like you said, keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
I think prayer is so powerful, because prayer makes me realize that I'm not invincible. I'm not Superwoman, and I can't control everything. Even though I try, I can't. I can't control everything. I'm so glad. I know I'm so glad I have faith in my life. And for those who don't have faith in their life, that's fine. To each their own. And those who are of other faiths, that's fine also. We are not here to judge, but that's one mindset habit that I have, that I practice daily.
I love that because that spiritual check in can be such a powerful anchor, especially when things feel like chaotic, right? And it's a reminder that we are not meant to carry everything alone. For anyone listening who is feeling heavy right now, Sylvia, what message do you want to leave for others who are still doubting themselves or feeling stuck?
So I always tell people this, even my board members, new board members, and even students, people that I come across who are, for example, from a new and emerging community, that it's normal to doubt yourself. It's normal to feel that you are stuck. It's normal to feel that you can't control everything and no one's appreciating. All those things are normal.
Yeah.
When you keep going down that road, you need to recognize why you feel that way and what you're going to do to change how you feel. And it all goes back to things like, again, that you can't control everything. You're not there to please everyone. You're not a people pleaser. and you're not invincible. And I know someone gave me some advice once, like if someone is giving you, just say your board members are disagreeing with you and they've just gone totally against you, and you feel really bad, you feel like you've made the wrong decision, you don't want to be there, you don't want to be in that organization anymore. I think sometimes rather than reacting, just take a deep breath and just sit on it. I love some of my aunties who are much older than me. They're not really related to me, but they give me such good advice. And this is why it goes back to the effect of grandparents and
Yeah.
the older generation, the baby boomers, because they had it really tough. They had it really tough. So that advice, like, just take it in and then sit on it for a few days, because guess what? After a few days, even after a few weeks, you will feel much different to what you feel right now.
Oh yeah.
You'll actually go, okay, shrug your shoulders, all right, I'll do better. Those are the things that it's normal. It's just don't overreact. Don't, just leave it. Thank thank them for the feedback. If you're feeling stuck, just realize that that's the way the earth goes. You'll have ups and then you'll have downs, but you just need to realize, internally work out why you're feeling that way and what you're going to do to change the way you feel about it.
Yeah, indeed, it's a big part because doubt is definitely part of the journey, but it's not a stop sign, I'll say, right? It's what you
Yes.
do with it that defines the outcome. Thank you so much for reminding us that stuck doesn't mean broken, but it just means it's time to shift, right? Thank you,
Yeah.
Sylvia, for your time and for sharing your story. It was such a powerful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your podcast. I hope I have inspired at least one person to
I'm
think that
sure.
they're not alone, that they're not invincible, and that they can't control everything. I know some of the things I have said, it might have felt to people, oh, that sounds a bit easy, but it's not, because I'm constantly having to remind myself, what it means to be a leader,
Yeah,
how you got to ensure that, everyone within your circle of influence is feeling,
oh,
feeling part, being part of your journey.
yeah, indeed. Indeed, it's an ongoing process. Not
Exactly.
like a ticking the box and it's done. It's ongoing.
Yes.
We keep on reminding ourselves, and that's what
Yeah.
is all about self-leadership. What a powerful conversation. I hope today's episode reminded you that every bold move, every breakthrough, and every brave yes becomes possible when you're back, not burnout. Whether it's a moment that made you pause, a quote that lit a fire in you, or a story that felt a little too familiar, let it be your reminder. You don't have to carry the load alone.
Remember, you don't have to do it all alone. When you're back, not burnout, anything is possible. If today's episode sparked something in you, share it with a friend. Leave a review or tag me at Prita Bolaki. I'd love to hear what landed for you. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, because your best life is just one bold step and one Kickass Buddy away. Back, not burnout, always in your corner.